Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry this is going up so late. I've had some stuff I'm working on. I'm trying to finish up this first volume of the mystery book that I'm working on. So, a couple weeks ago we did a live drawing of the Thing from Fantastic Four, and I wanted to go ahead and get into this one. This is a picture of Johnny Storm, the younger brother of Sue Storm from the Fantastic Four. Johnny Storm, in the beginning, when they first introduced him, was technically the second Human Torch character they ever had. The first Human Torch was, I believe, his name was John Hammond, and he fought with Captain America and Submariner and the different heroes from that era. Golden Skull, I believe, was another one. And so they all fought together during the World War II era. And so he was one of the I think they were called the Invaders. So anyway, so then whenever they did this whole, and then they came back and they were like, we're gonna do Fantastic Four, and they ended up doing Johnny Storm as the younger brother to Sue, and he became the Human Torch on that team. So I mean, I believe later in the comics he even met John Hammond at one point. That's pretty cool. Kind of a little bit of history throwback. Anyway, Johnny is, as you know, him being the Human Torch. Of course, there's kind of that idea of he's a little bit more impulsive. He's a little bit more hot-headed, literally and figuratively, as far as the way he kind of worked things out. He kind of jumped in a lot of times without any real thought to what he was going to do when he jumped in. He always tended to have this idea of he could just jump in and figure out what was going on and then deal with the repercussions. One of the beautiful things I love in the comics is that he has really grown up a lot since then. So whereas for the longest time he was just the kid brother to Sue, who was the Invisible Woman in on the team, and he really has stepped up on several occasions and even became the at one point, if I'm not mistaken, he became the leader of the Inhumans for a while on Earth. When Black Bolt was thought to be dead, he kind of took over as the leader and had a relationship with the Red Queen for a little while. Red Queen, Medusa. There we go. He had a relationship with Medusa for a very short time. So on top of that, Johnny is kind of the playboy. He, has dated several people, including Crystal, who was an Inhuman. Um, yeah, he's dated a lot of different people. I remember one of my favorite moments with him, really, in the comics was right around the time when the Civil War comics came out. And there was a point where he went out with Ben, I believe. I believe it was Ben. He went out with Ben, and no, it wasn't Ben. It was just he was out on a date with a young lady, and he kind of started getting harassed because of the situation in Stanford where the school bus got blown up. And even though had nothing to do with that, people kind of jumped his case on it. So he was kind of like, okay, let's just go, let's just go. Well, then a group of people ended up hurting him and causing issues. So then, even though him and the Thing don't get along that great in a lot of cases, Ben Grimm still decided he wasn't picking a side. He decided he was going to stay in France, I believe, for a while. So due to what happened to Johnny, he just decided he was done. He wasn't going to pick a side at all. He was going to be what some would refer to as a conscientious objector. So he decided to go to France for a little bit while Sue, of course, is dealing with the loss of her brother, not really the loss of her brother, but what her brother went through. And Reed kind of being like yeah, but we got to make the world better. We got to let people know who the heroes are. And so there was an agreement for a while in the comics. They were kind of, I don't know that they split, but there was a point where, there was a lot going on, and Sue definitely wasn't having what Reed was selling, so to speak. So then whenever the war fought, of course, near the end of the Civil War, the comic, you had this big moment where everybody was fighting everybody. And then Captain America, I believe, was the one that was kind of like, we're not really helping anyone. And so that was when he kind of just was like, you know what, we're done. And he turned himself in, and basically that was the point where everything went crazy for him as well. But we're not talking about Captain America today, we're talking about Johnny Storm. So one of the real cool things I think was interesting about Johnny as well is beyond just the comics and different things like that. Chris Evans, who currently plays Captain America in the Marvel films, was the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four movies done by the first two. movies done by Fox. And I have to preface that because Michael B. Jordan ended up playing Human Torch in the latter one, which I mean I kind of tolerated the other two Fantastic Four film movies to be honest, but the last one is on my short list of movies. I never fully intend on like going out of my way to watch. You know, it's one thing if the movie just happens to be on, I go over to somebody's house, I'm not gonna be rude and be like, oh, I'm not watching that crap, turn it off. But as far as me going out and be like, let me go to the video store today and rent the new Fantastic Four movie with Michael B. Jordan. No, I'm not gonna do that. Just a personal choice. Not doing it. So there goes that. But anyway, so yeah, Chris Evans, who played Captain America, who plays Captain America in the Marvel Universe now, played Human Torch in that movie. And what I find funny is there's been a meme that's been around forever. And people say sometimes you have the opportunity to go from being the guy who played one of the worst characters to being one of the guys who plays one of the best characters. And so it's kind of, it talks about like Ryan Reynolds. He was Green Lantern in the movie, and then of course now he's Deadpool. Ben Affleck was Daredevil in their movie, and then now he's come back as Batman, even though we don't know for sure if he's going to stay that role. It's a whole other issue. Again, not talking about Batman, talking about the Human Torch. So one of the cool things about the Human Torch is his power set makes him almost a cosmic powered level person in a lot of ways. Because he has a thing where he can basically do like a Nova Blast. He has been said to get hotter than the sun. Consciously get hotter than the sun. So like he can actually turn up his powers to the point where it just goes ridiculous levels of heat. And his body, of course, is covered in flames. He can control how that happens. So like, for example, we've seen him in comics before where he'll carry someone and everything on his body will be on fire except for his hands. And so you never actually see his hands on fire. So, because he'll be carrying the person. So he got to a place where he can control all that. Of course, he's another one of the ones, I think I kind of talked about this with Thing a little bit a couple weeks ago. And if you haven't had a chance to see that video, check that out. Because that's a really cool one. I think that's the first one I kind of talk about how I identified with Ben Grimm because I'm a bigger guy. But the other thing that's interesting about dealing with, kind of Ben and the Human Torch is that with the Human Torch, he kind of started off as a pretty boy and then stayed a pretty boy. He never really went through a point where he had to, he never went to a point where he was ostracized for his powers. Unlike Ben, who has been on several occasions, because he's, of course, he looks like he looks. And so, it's always an interesting thing about what powers do. But then also he also really never, the biggest thing, I think his big struggle was dealing with his attitude toward authority. There were points where Reed would be like, okay, we're going to do these things. But he just wasn't having it because he was kind of always a rebel. And so he really wasn't, down for following a lot of rules for the longest time. But he eventually grew out of that, eventually got to the place where he was really a contributing member of the land of heroes. And even there was a point where in the comics he died. And Spider-Man ended up having to take his place for a while. And I say having to, he was asked. And when, Peter asked him, well, why would you ask me to do that? He's like, well, because you and Johnny were friends. And so, we don't have a big list of people to take his place. And, we wanted you to be the one to do it. And so really, in a sense, Peter Parker was handpicked to be the replacement for Johnny. And so when they started the Future Foundation, there was a point, I believe, where they went into another dimension and they found Johnny in that dimension. And so at that point, they were able to bring him back. And it was even to the point where Peter was kind of like leaving. He was like, oh, well, I guess you don't need me anymore. And Johnny was like, no, if you want to stay, you can stay. So they never really got to the whole point of just, they didn't just boot Spider-Man off. I think he did eventually leave. He was kind of like, I don't think I need to stay past this point because we've already, my main reason for being here was to replace you, and now you're here, so there's no reason for me to stay. So he eventually left. But Johnny has, like I said, he's fire-based, and he's really cool in that fire-based way, and he comes in and just does all sorts of cool stuff. Another funny fact, we talked about the movie a little bit ago. when there was a moment in the movie, in the second movie, it was Rise of Silver Surfer, I think was the name of that one. And there was a point where basically they were like, "Oh, we gotta do something about this because there's no way we can stop Galactus." And so they say, they basically poured all their powers into Johnny. He basically became, for those of you who don't know anything about the comics at all, he basically became the Super Skrull for a short time. So he basically had all of the powers of the Fantastic Four available to him at any given point for a very short time, and he basically went and faced Thanos in this. Not only Thanos, I keep saying Thanos, Galactus, but he also faced this super powered version of Doctor Doom, because the whole thing was is that Doctor Doom somehow gained power from Silver Surfer's surfboard, which I'm still trying to figure out how that happened, because it's kind of like, if it's one thing if Galactus endows the power to an object, but it's another thing to then have somebody just randomly get on said object and be like, I now have access to the power. And it's not the way power normally works. But anyway, again, who am I? I don't write movies. So there you go on that. So just about to finish this up. I kind of wanted to do like a little flamey 4 in the background. So just as a reminder, guys, if you have not picked up a copy of the Cadets Con sketchbook, you're going to want to pick that up pretty quick, because August the 11th is coming sooner than you think, and then it will not be available after that. We'll not be able to leave that up past that point. So I will have to take it down. So like I said in another video, if you guys want an autographed copy with a sketch in it, I need you to let me know back into the channel, message me. There's a video that says special announcement about Cadets Con. If you want to go back and look at that video, I actually put my email on that one as well. So that way, if you guys want to message me that way, you can. However you want to get in touch with me. But I need to know, because I want to be able to get those books ordered if I need to. And there we go. So there is the Human Torch. And I appreciate you guys checking this out and watching. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know in the comments below what you want me to see what you want to see me draw next. Anyway, guys, take care. In worst case scenario, I'll be doing another live drawing next Saturday. That following Saturday will be August the 4th. I will not be doing a live draw because I will be at Cadets Con in Houston, Texas. So there you go. Anyway, guys, as always, above all else, be blessed. Be a blessing to somebody. Take care, guys.